Hello, good morning.
Hello there. Good morning to you.
As you know, this is Andrew Clay Schaefer. I'm an organizer of DevOps Days Pittsburgh, and I'm joined today by someone who is both a co-organizer of DevOps Days Pittsburgh as well as representing a sponsor, ModCloth. And it's Dan Buch. I've really just met you through this process of organizing DevOps Days Pittsburgh, but it's been a pleasure to share the morning planning breakfast and talk about tech. And I know you just went to GopherCon and you kind of you mix it up a bit. So I'll let you introduce yourself a bit more, and then we'll talk about some DevOps days.
Yes. So as you just said, I'm both organizing and sponsor representing, which has been a really fun ride because I get the support from Workplace to come hang out with you on the Wednesdays and do the planning. And yeah, like you just said, having been at a language conference that was not an ops conference recently, that's a dead giveaway. That I tend to straddle both sides of the dev and the ops, and I like this. So, a bit about me. There you go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had some conversations over breakfast. Our polenta, talking about polenta, fresh squeezed orange juice, about different tech, about different aspects of development, operations, all these things. So, just for the audience at home, what does DevOps mean to Dan Buch?
So the things that I tend to stress the most, and like I'm remembering back to recent conversations well, heck, I've been at a string of meetups, especially this week. So okay, I happen to be in San Francisco right now, although I live in Pittsburgh, and that's where I work at ModCloth in Pittsburgh. And I'm here to touch base with a lot of my coworkers, and the coworkers that I'm talking to, I'm talking about how do we build stuff, and how do we make sure that not only do we build like the application layer, but how do we make sure that we're operating this thing and make sure that it actually works? And so I think that the parts that I focus on tend to be making sure that individuals are talking. Communication is important, and making sure that individuals are not just thinking about like feature, but like feature operating, and that's what I tend to focus in on. Is like, okay, we may have different opinions about the different technologies we might use for a given, like, let's say, HTTP API service. That's not as important to me as having a shared vocabulary about how we're going to operate these things. And that I strongly believe that the thinking all the way through the process of operating the thing in production strongly influences the way that we build applications. And so I'm here to talk to people about that.
Yeah. If you think holistically about operating a service, at some time scale, the operational and maintenance considerations will overshadow all the costs of any development. So I don't understand why more people don't think that way.
Yes, you just said it. You said it the concise way that I roundabout said. Yes, and so
ignore this at your peril.
Yeah, so I feel really fortunate. Like I get very little resistance on this, and I guess I view ModCloth's involvement with DevOps Days as being like a recommitment, and making sure that like that myself and my peers are all recognizing that yes, in fact, we do believe that this philosophy has a lot of value, and just making sure that we're staying involved.
So then, I think you were kind of saying this, but what do you feel like an organization like ModCloth gets out of both sponsoring and involving themselves in these kind of events?
For me, I see it as well. Okay, I honestly view it as tech community table stakes, that we strongly value having engineers who are opinionated, well skilled, wanting to grow all the time, good communicators, and I view like part of our role in sustaining a good engineering culture is making sure that we're involved in the community. On top of that, I also that ModCloth has a really strong commitment specifically in Pittsburgh, of making sure that we're helping that we're doing our part to make sure that the tech community is all growing together. So I think that a lot of the reason why I got involved is I'm committed to living in Pittsburgh and keep my family there, and I'm committed to trying to again do my part to get Pittsburgh tech in a better place all the time. And so that is the biggest reason I believe. And then the huge side effect of that is wildly important to me is making sure that my peers at ModCloth and myself are all reminded, like, yes, we are actually committed to this philosophy of thinking holistically about product development, and that is important.
You brought up an interesting point, and this is something that I experience because I do live in Pittsburgh as well, but I participated in this sort of global community of DevOps and a bunch of different organizations and product efforts around basically the planet, but definitely in San Francisco. So you not only straddle developers and operations, but you also kind of straddle Pittsburgh and San Francisco. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about where you see Pittsburgh and where you see kind of yourself in that narrative.
Definitely. So I'll probably speak. I'll speak a lot about me for the next minute, and that I know that I arrived at this by way of open source, which can be like a scary thing. That I found myself in this field after having interacted with people around the world, like you were just saying, and that yes, I eventually got a job that happened to be located near where I lived, and then I ended up going to an office where I was interacting with human beings in a much more real-time way, and then I got to learn all those communication skills. But I still remember back to the value of having really good written communication skills and understanding how to keep a dialogue going over a much longer period of time than just a hallway conversation. And I think about that. I think about the value of trying to spread what I've learned about those skills and learn more skills about operating at distance. But I also recognize how amazing it can be to kind of supercharge a relationship with a face-to-face in person, getting all those other layers.
There's that, but the question I'm actually interested in, slightly different. No, you're fine. No, you're great actually. You're awesome. But what do you see as a difference? Because you see both of the worlds. Is there a difference in your mind between the way things work in San Francisco and the way things work in Pittsburgh?
I usually I live in Pittsburgh, and I observe San Francisco all throughout the week on the Twitters and whatnot. And the way that I see San Francisco from way out in Pittsburgh is this incredibly fast-paced world where ideas become embraced and destroyed on a timescale of minutes and hours. And when I'm out here, the people that I interact with the most are almost too overwhelmed with all of this to even be able to pay attention to it. And it's interesting that I feel like I'm almost more in touch with the idea of the day when I'm far away from San Francisco. And so when I'm here, it's a very different mindset for me. I found myself actually doing significantly less Twittering while I'm in San Francisco, and doing a lot more talking quietly to people about slow-paced things. Not sure exactly what point I'm making there, but I find it very interesting.
To balance the force.
Exactly. But I find it fascinating that for all the appearance of San Francisco as this place where you have an amazing number of people coming up with amazing new ideas and sharing them constantly, that whenever I'm here, I find it hey, there's actually there are huge gaps in between these individuals where they're just normal human beings just like me, who are overwhelmed with all of it too, and are not necessarily adding to the conversation every minute.
I think that's an important point, is that no matter where you're at, you're just like me.
We're all doing the best we can with the tools we have. And
so to close it out, we're about 3 weeks away from our DevOps days here, and it's going to be a good time. What are you most looking forward to? And we'll just kind of fade to black with that.
I'm very, very happy that we've been able to get the single-track speakers we have. I love them, but I am so excited about open spaces. I can't begin to describe. I get all buzzy thinking about
all of it.
All of it. Yes, for different reasons, but all of it.
Bring me the DevOps days.
And make sure we get some sushi for Andrew.
Yeah, there's got to be sushi. It's not for me. It's just to make things. That's the way the universe should be.
The social lubricant.
All right, and with that, I'll get back to work. You'll get back to work, and we'll see you guys at DevOps Days.
Great talking.
30th.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Cheers.